No, I think like at the end of it, it definitely comes down to like Ali, you know, just because he's more than boxing sometimes. And then when we kind of get into it, it could be Marciano though, because he's actually the undefeated one, you know. Yeah. But with
that's
Frazier,
why I asked you about him, but then you said he has another rookie.
He has his is the 51 ringside. So that's the whole thing when it comes down to it. And that's why I say Frazier, the interesting thing about Frazier is his rookie card was this 64, but it's like an Olympic debut, right? So it was this one, and there's a Nestle ones that's sideways, but you can't even see his face, and it's like colorized, like it's like a cartoon.
People love that.
Yeah, so for me, then the interesting thing that people don't know is Frazier turned pro in 65. So 64 cards are kind of like debuts to his, like him winning the Olympic gold in 64, but his actual rookie is the 65. I'm sorry, it's the 67, but he turned pro in 65. So this is actually from Panini. And they have the first colorized Frazier. That's why for me I've been so in it. And there's actually two with Panini. So there's a base version and there's a Validad, which is the rare of the two. So the Validads are like the redemption inserts. So this is what like a Validad looked like back in the day, or this is kind of why this is the highest pop. So this is like what the redemption was back in the day. So the reason they're more rare is because most people, when they pulled this, it was like 1 in 5 packs. But they would go ahead and send these back to Panini for soccer ball, baseball, boxing gloves, stuff like that, like whatever promotional item they were pushing at that time. So for a lot of people, like, that's why the Validads are so like few and far between, or most of them you'll see are really low grade because they were stuck on the album, so the people ripped them off the albums after, stuff like that. So that's why I think there's an interesting, time there, especially with like the 1960 Hemet Ali is like such an iconic card, and there's only 110. And I think the last time it sold was like 4 years ago for like 500, so for 50 grand. But the highest it sold for was back in May for like 210. So there's a lot of like interesting thing coming, with that card and with Ali and boxing and, the way the whole market is, everyone's kind of branching out in their own thing. But I think there's a lot of interesting stuff coming, in regards to this side of things.
Oh, that's awesome. I love those.
Thank you so much. I was stoked when I got it. I actually took a chance on it. I bought them raw, so from an Italian seller. It took me like a month and a half to actually like get it in, and that's like during COVID.
Yeah, the really old stuff of Ali and Frazier are really hard to find too.
Yeah, and now
I don't see them come across.
I think that the cheapest one, some of them the Italian sellers are selling them for is 19. Like they're all like 19 right now is where they're pricing.
1900?
Yeah, for a raw. And that's where like somebody's like that wants to take the chance. But with PSA though, they've been way harder on vintage, as you can see, like when it comes to the centering and everything like that. So with these ones, the centering's always been tough. But when you find one that has a nice center, that's the main thing. That's what I think. Yeah, that's just my like.
Yeah, I've had PSA send a lot of them back to me, not even grade them.
Because they.
And then I send them to like SG. Or they see it's altered or something like that, and of course, the typical crap from the PSA sometimes. But then I send to SGC or BGS, and they get graded. They get a number too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. And that's why for me, like I think brother.
So to get a grade on those is pretty impressive.
An interesting piece.
Yeah, he's so iconic. Yeah, I buy a lot of Ali too.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah, no, definitely.
And I try to find like even the autographs. I don't even care. Like even the new stuff. If it's autographed, like from the Leaf cards, I'll buy the Ali's because I feel like they're still low priced.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But those are beautiful.
Yeah, brother. Hey, man, it was a pleasure.
Is it the question of sport or the super sport one?
The super sport.
Which is not the question of sport one.
Which is not the question of sport.
Okay,
yeah,
I have that one too.
The question of sport one's a great one, but I feel like...
Which I have right here, yeah.
Yeah, so you see the question of the sport. That's friggin' awesome. But with that one, so that one came out in 87. Have you seen the 86 Super Sport?
I think so. You show it to me again, just so make sure if I'm on the same path as you, see if this is the right one. Because I've been looking for more.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll send you the article that I sent him. So this is the Tyson, the 86.
Yo, yes.
Yeah, you see, that's the whole thing.
And then how much do they want for that 10?
Oh no, yeah, the 10's not even up for sale right now. I think I know one of the owners of it. He lives out in Florida, but he's a huge collector. He has like one of the 10s. He has like 2 9s and like 1 8.
Yeah, and actually, I have like one of those cards.
You have?
And I just got it back from PSA, and they didn't grade it.
They didn't grade because
no,
they said
so
it was
I
altered.
sent it to
SGC.
I sent SGC, yeah.
Man.
Right now.
What a
I mean, I'm not going to get a 10 on it right now,
it's super
but
tough, and that's where like,
I bought it raw for a pretty good price, I thought.
I think that's why personally,
we'll
I think that's where there's a lot of potential. When you talk about because that's what I said when I talked to like Sasha and I was reaching out to him, I was saying, hey, like I think there's a lot of really good opportunity with boxing. When we see like what F1, right, what even wrestling, which is like that's the thing, is like these iconic things, but boxing's up there. We just don't even know about it, really talk about it.
Exactly.
People have Ali shirts, they're walking around with them, right? So
I mean, yeah, he's so iconic.
That's the whole thing. So for me, that's why that's kind of where I was going to, and I love pieces like this, where it's like
and you've touched that. Like that card is so flimsy.
Yeah.
Like it could easily roll up. It's like the thinnest piece of paper ever.
And that's the whole thing. It was a car stock with so low. So that's why I think like in time, especially when you think about like how we value, and that's what for me, a lot of times I do it to like I just equate it to F1. Because I think like F1's like cool for like there's different strokes for different folks, but I think there's like when you see how like so hyped up some people get on it just because they're like, oh, it's gonna be a big thing, there's money, right? But for me, I'm like, man, if you're looking for like history of promenade, like there's a huge category, even wrestling, right? That's why for a lot of people, like they're surprised how well wrestling does, but that's because it has a huge fan base of people that were into it, right? So for me, I think boxing's the same way. There was a disconnect, but regardless, people know Tyson. People still like Mike Tyson, like everybody, even from like
Tyson
pop culture movies,
or Manny or Mayweather or like you said Frazier or there's so many of those guys.
Yeah. So for me, that's why I was big on Frazier just because I saw how undervalued he was.
Too. I actually have the first ever Lewis Hamilton rookie card from the 2009 Topps Trumps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have those, but I guess I thought I pulled them out, but I guess I didn't. I'll just show you. Hold me a second. But it was like you could get them dirt cheap, and I was like, you know what? I better grab these while everybody's doing the Prism before people discover them. Because that's what happened with like Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah.
Everybody finally went to the original cards or stickers after the Prisms got maxed out.
And that's where for me, even like with the UFC, like there's a lot of like the Prism UFCs are like cool, but there's the whole Topps UFC that was around.
Right. I'm listening. When did you buy those?
Oh, brother, I've been getting into these over the last like year and a half.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like 2 years.
See, like these right here?
Wow, yeah, dude, these are tight. And this is the kind of thing where
people discover them, sooner or later they're gonna figure it out. So patience.
Like, it comes down to it, yeah. Okay, this is the type of thing like you got to get out like in a week once like this final race comes, right? Because I think there's a big final race.
Everybody's talking about it.
And it's either him or Verstappen, but I guess I heard that he just qualified for like the first position, so.
He did?
Yeah, so it's looking like it's going to be like pretty well in his favor.
Yeah, I just sold the SI Kids one.
The sports one, yeah, no way.
Yeah, it was a crappy grade, but
at least you were able to move it.
Yeah, I moved it. Yeah,
and that's the whole thing that's about. When people don't realize, like, when the cost basis is low and you're able to get in for a good price and just having the right thing at the right time. That's what for me, like I've been getting into the boxing, but for me, I'm like, oh, like there was a recent good sale of that one. So PSA 8 went for $7,500, and then the 9 right after got the one I just sold to Sasha, got sold for $10K. Or on eBay, so the 9 sold for $9K, and like 3 months ago, and what I was trying to tell him was, or 4 months ago, there was an auction that a lot of people didn't realize went out. So the single 10 sold for $7K, and 2 9 sold for $2K. So this is where I'm
that's probably still low.
Yeah, and then like we're a couple months later, 3 months later, the 9 now sells for $10K because there's
really?
Wow. So that's kind of where like. For what happened was they were just an auction, but people didn't realize what was there, So somebody bought those up, and then just recently it was the natural, people have been getting into Ali because I feel like with the recent scares over pop and all that, some people are like, oh, let me go back into vintage, which I'm sure you've kind of seen some people kind of gravitate towards. So for me, that's where I'm at too,
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Gotta have the spread. That's why I'm like, I was stoked on getting the Kobe because I'm like, can't go wrong with the goats and stuff like that. But
is that what you got, a Kobe?
Yeah, I got the Kobe Star Date, PSA 9. Oh, from him, yeah. So that was.
Oh, yeah, from Sasha.
Yeah, from Sasha.
So what'd you do? Like trade that and some cash?
Exactly, trade and cash. That's why. Because for me, it was like, I'm like, man, it's more advantageous to get Sasha, right? Like, so bring down the price a little bit, get somebody like Sasha that's interested in the boxing,
right?
That could be great for the market. market in general.
Exactly.
So
it'll stimulate it.
Yeah. So for me, like,
he's an influencer.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, and that's why I'm like, hey, like, if you're interested, like, this is we could work out a deal, and he was down to work out a deal. So I'm like, great, so it worked out, and that's why for me, like, I still have like what I can, like, my holy grails, which is the Frazier, and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are awesome.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was stoked on that one because it's actually the highest graded. So
it was.
Yeah, the Frazier.
Then did you get them graded yourself, or you buy them graded?
Yeah, I got it graded.
Okay.
Yeah, so I took the chance on that. So the pop on that Volley Da, the Redemption, was pop the same for over like 6 years. So it was pop for all of them PSA 2s. So all 4 PSA 2s.
They're all low grades.
All low grades. And I sent this one in, and they were tougher on the grading, but at least I squeaked by the 3. So that's why I'm like, all right, it's the highest graded. I'm like, we made it, But
well, I love it. I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been good, brother. It's been good. Hey, man, but it was a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure. What's your name one more time? Caesar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Merlin, like Merle World Cards.
You're Merle World Cards.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, I've seen your shit.
I didn't have my signs. I left them at home. I didn't wake up and I was like, I have left something here today, man.
Yeah.